Hey y'all, my name is Justin, one of the admissions counselors here at CEA, and for those of you that have been following our new internship programs, we've recently expanded to a bunch of different locations as well as expanded to going over the summer. So if you've been following the posts that we've been doing, we've been talking about the best ways to prepare for your internship, what kind of steps you should be taking before you actually apply for your internship, as well as what some myths and what some facts are about participating in an international internship. And joining me today we have...
I'm Sadie Foltz. I'm a site specialist here at CEA. I work with some of our new internship programs. Today we're going to be talking about once you do apply and are accepted, what to expect from there until you go abroad and also when you return. So coming live from Dublin, we have Colin Hogan, who is here with us today. So we wanted to kind of go over, now that you've been accepted into the program, you've been applied, what to expect next. The first thing that's going to happen is you're going to have a pre-screening interview with one of our site specialists, like myself, who's just going to kind of get to know you a little bit better, go over skill development and your goals and objectives for an internship abroad. And then we're going to pass that information along to an internship coordinator like Colin, who's then going to work with you from there. So Colin, can you kind of describe what that next step after the first interview is going to look like for a student?
Sure, no problem. Hi everyone, by the way, I'm Colin Hogan and I'm the Assistant Director here at CEA Dublin. I help manage the center and I also specifically manage the Dublin Internship Program here. So to go give you a little bit of information about that first interview with myself, it's going to be essentially a formal interview, so students should come dressed the part, prepared, expect maybe one or two unexpected questions, just to make sure that they're ready for this experience. They're going abroad, they're coming to work in an international setting, so we really want to make sure the students are up to the challenge. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to figure out what their objectives are here in Dublin, professionally, culturally, and ultimately I just want to make sure that I'm going to find the most appropriate placement for them. So the interview should take about 30 minutes or so. Ideally, it'll happen by Skype, but if that's not available, then obviously we will organize an interview by phone instead.
Great. And a pro tip here, if you're trying to prepare for your interview, we do have an internship guide that will help you prepare for that interview, and you may get asked questions on it. So it's always great to read to prepare for that beforehand. And again, we're doing our Facebook Live event. So if you have any questions at any point during this, feel free to write any questions or comments below in the comment box.
And so, Colin, you mentioned that they're going to be doing some screenings with you. You'll be working on finding them that placement. When can they expect to know their placement, and what are some things they can be doing while they're waiting to hear that news in preparation for arriving on site?
Well, that really depends on when they register with CEA and enroll in the program, because there is quite a long process involved for them to get all their documentation in and deal with the site specialist there in Phoenix. So the sooner that they enroll, the better, because that gives me more time to find a placement for them. But typically, I would hope to have a placement for them around 4 weeks in advance. So before that point, I will be checking in with the students to make sure that they know where we're at with everything. And they may even have a Skype interview with the host company. It just depends on how strong the student's resume is and whether or not the company needs to make sure that the candidate would be a good fit for their organization. But to answer your question again, typically 1 month in advance, they will know where they'll be working.
And once they know their placement, what are some things you recommend students do? Is there any research they should be looking into? How can they prepare themselves to arrive in Dublin?
Yeah, I think there's two things they can do. One is to just learn about the host culture. So forget about their specific internship at this point, but learn about Ireland, learn about Dublin, and make sure that they're going to be able to integrate into the culture here nicely and seamlessly. After that, then once they have their specific company and the company that they will be working for, then they should do a bit of research on them and find out exactly what they do. And if they do have any questions or concerns, get back to me so we can iron out any kinks before they arrive on site.
Great. And so once a student does their preparations, they learn about the host country, they've gotten their placement, and then they get on that plane and go. What can those first few days look like for a student through orientation? Do they meet their internship coordinator? What does that look like that first couple of days once they arrive?
Well, I'm sure, as you all can imagine, your first day entering a foreign country, particularly if it's for your first time leaving the States, it can be quite overwhelming. So it really depends on the student, their background, just kind of how well they're able to adjust to their new surroundings. But thankfully, that's what we're here for. We'll be there to greet them at the airport, get them checked into their accommodation, and make sure that the first day or two is a smooth one. Now, needless to say, there will be certain challenges, but once again, we're here to do a full orientation with them and make sure that those first 2 days they're really getting to know Dublin as well as they can. And then before they start their placement, they will at least try to get there once on their own using public transport, and they may run into some obstacles with that. And then the last step before they start working is they'll go and meet their supervisor, agree on a schedule that suits both parties, and just once again, it's formally, an informal contract where they know exactly what they're signing up for.
And you mentioned that they're gonna meet that placement and discuss the scheduling. What is a typical, day in the life, but I guess better said, a week in the life of an internship student going to look like?
It really depends on the industry that they're working in. We've had students who have done video production and they're traveling around the country working on set, doing things like that, and then following up and doing all the editing work in the studio. Some students have worked in hospitality and they're managing a bed and breakfast here on their own, and obviously that's a very unique thing in Ireland is the bed and breakfast experience. So it really depends, but typically if you're working in an office environment, you can expect to be helping doing database management, working on various projects that they're taking on at the time. But you need to come with an open mind, because it's really difficult for us to tell the student exactly what they'll be doing. If they're flexible, open-minded, coming with a positive feeling about everything, then they'll settle in just fine.
And for those of you just joining us, this is our Facebook Live event where we're talking a lot more about the internship process, what that pre-departure is going to look like when you're doing your screening interviews and finding your placement, as well as what your life is going to be like on site. And so, Colin, one thing that I know some students are worried about or wondering about is if you're doing our summer internship, you will not be participating in the excursions. The main reason for that is your schedule is just going to be very, very rigid. So, Colin, what are some suggestions that you would have for those internship students to still feel like they're immersed in the culture and having that study abroad experience?
Well, they'll still have plenty of free time to, whether it's on the weekends or on a day off here and there. And, we're here to help them with that. And, we do this for a living and we take students all around the country. So we can put together, really detailed itineraries for them and make sure that when they do have 2 days off, that they're making the most of it, traveling to the West Coast or getting to some of these, the parts of Ireland that really make it special. Dublin is a great city. I love it to bits here, but, when you get to the countryside, that's really what it's all about. So although they will be busy, they'll be working, they'll be taking a class on top of that. That's why they're doing the internship program, because they're ambitious students and they're able to manage a heavy workload, and we'll make sure we give them all the information they need to make the most of it.
And will their host company provide a social outlet for them? What's the company culture like about that in Ireland?
Yeah, Ireland is a very casual place, and as I'm sure you all know, that Irish people like to socialize. So there will be plenty of opportunities for students to, interact with their coworkers outside of the office. And I really, really encourage students to take advantage of it, because that's where they'll get the most out of it. They will leave. Of course, they're going to get a lot of good professional skills in the office, but the memories that they'll leave with when they, make friends here and coworkers, and not to mention the networking that, takes place as a result. You never know what may happen 10 years from now if they need one of these contacts to, further their career. So I would strongly advise students to take advantage of every opportunity to engage with their professional colleagues.
Great. And so it sounds like they're going to be getting a lot of experience both for skill development, but also networking, as you had mentioned. How does the internship course help them translate that back onto their resume as they get ready to graduate and join the workforce?
They'll be doing a weekly seminar that takes place usually in the evenings because they're working during the day. And they generally have a different focus each week, but usually has to deal with either kind of developing intercultural skills, professional skills, or else just learning about Irish culture, because those are really the three things that we think that they're here to do, and we want to help them achieve those objectives. So from a professional point of view, in the very last seminar, we'll be doing a professional development workshop where they'll have to apply for a formal internship of their choice, and they'll need to submit a job description for that, a cover letter, a resume, as well as their LinkedIn summary statement. And then they will come in for a formal 20 to 30 minute interview to try to apply for that position. On top of that, in terms of the intercultural stuff, we bring in various speakers along the way so they can really get a well-rounded experience and kind of leave feeling that they understand Irish society.
That's really wonderful. And another great opportunity for CEA students, once you do get back, you have the opportunity to apply and participate in our Alumni Ambassador program, where you would be an advocate on your campus to promote CEA programs like our internship programs as well as our study programs to other CEA students. And this is a great opportunity for our alumni to be able to increase their experience and skill development with networking and create that professional experience.
And so just one more reminder for those of you just joining in, we're going to be wrapping up in just a couple of minutes, but we're talking about our new internship program. So not new to CEA, but we have expanded to a handful of new destinations that you can participate in this internship program, and now they're offered over the summer for 8-week programs. And we've had Colin here with us to talk about what the process looks like for a student going to Dublin, and so we're thrilled that we got to have an actual look at this one site for how the placement's going to work, the screenings, and what that experience is going to be. And just keep in mind, if you're not looking into Dublin, this process is going to be very similar for all of our other destinations as well. They're each going to have an internship coordinator that is going to reach out into the community to try and find those placements for you. And so for those of you that are wondering what the next steps you should take are, you should definitely connect with your advisors on campus to talk about some of the benefits to participating in an internship. And the most important thing in our eyes is that you start looking into it 6 to 9 months in advance. So if you're looking to go for next summer or next fall, the time is now. For those of you going home for winter break, we're going to be open for most of it. I will be here for sure, so definitely give us a call. We'd love to chat with you, find out what type of placement you're looking for, and see where we can offer those experiences for you.
Thank you again for joining us today. We're going to sign off here in the Phoenix office, and from Dublin, we sign off and have a great evening over there. Thank you again for joining us. I'm Sadie.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Colin. Guys, thanks for having me, and I hope to see some of you in Dublin soon.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.